All right, let's hop in and do this thing. Hello, and thank you for taking the time to check out this weekly update. When I remember and have time, I make this weekly unedited vlog style video to summarize events that caught my attention globally, nationally, and in my immediate area. The summary helps me keep everything into perspective on how it will impact me personally. This is a deliberate effort to cut through the hype and stay focused, stay more rational, and counter the constant reaction, overreaction, if you will, if I can read my own notes right, content that we can tend to over consume online. Yes, I'm trying to have some notes here to keep myself on track, and I should practice before I start, but that's the point of this. This is a live video. No cuts, no edits, just real me rambling on about what's going on in the world. Try to keep everything in perspective. Now, normally I have a big list of things I want to talk about internationally, nationally, and locally, but hey, with this week, there's only one topic on mine, right? Uh, Operation Epic Fury, I believe is what it's called in the US. United States and some of our allies have dropped the hammer on Iran right now. I started doing a little side series when I go on my walks during the day. Uh, I like to do that to clear my head. I started doing a vlog on that. In the last few days, I've been talking about how what's going on in Iran is bound to happen, and it did happen. Uh, a little differently than I was expecting. I think myself and many others were expecting the strikes to happen in the wee hours of the early morning, local time in Iran, like between 2 and 4 in the morning. That's typical in modern warfare when airstrikes will begin in a conflict. And it makes sense, right? With modern equipment, uh, smarter munitions that are not dropped just by optic sights. They're guided in by radar, by laser, by GPS, or in our country's equivalent to GPS. It makes sense to do it at night. It adds a little level of a bit more level of security for the people dropping the warheads on the foreheads. And a big thing, especially when you're taking on urban targets, it lowers the risk of civilian injuries, right? Less people are out and about in the middle of the night. So if you're going to be blowing up a railroadway or taking out a bridge, less public traffic on it. If you're going to be attacking a power substation or even a military installation, there's less people around, right? At a power plant at night is typically a skeleton crew. Even on a military base, you have a lot of civilian workers there working, maintenance, in the cafeteria, construction, that type of thing. So striking in the wee hours, less collateral damage. But this attack started off in mid morning local time. And that struck me as odd, but it makes sense because it was what they like to call a decapitation attack. From all reports that I've seen, the U.S. Focused on military assets, attacking radar installations, missile defenses. Looked like they attacked some ships and ports, infrastructure, that type of thing. And the Israelis, they targeted more of the leadership. They went right after it. And as news broke this morning, it was confirmed this morning, they got the big guy. They got the Ayatollah, the spiritual, religious supreme commander of Iran. So that is a huge, huge deal. In one of my earlier vlogs this week, I got a playlist for that if you wanna check those out. Uh, I kinda pointed out that, this would be kinda what they're looking for is a regime change, and taking out the leaders is gonna make it more possible for Iran's people to take charge and have a regime change that's more organic after this initial push. So that's pretty interesting. And as things are popping up now, we're finding there's more and more allies that have actually been involved. It seems the British were involved in the airstrikes. Obviously, the Middle Eastern countries let the US and Israel fly over. A lot of the US aircraft are based in Saudi Arabia, Jordan, so on and so forth. And a lot of Iran's counterattacks have been to those areas. And it seems like Saudi Arabia is now voicing up that they're going to step up into this fight, possibly, which is kind of interesting. I'll get to some takes on that. So, with that is, hyper focus. Everything's on Iran. I think I covered what's going on. Linked below are 3 very good videos I've seen in the last 24 hours that showed some details on what's going on. One from Cappy Army, one from Sandboxx News, one from Preston Stewart. I follow these 3 channels along with many others. Um, if you checked this channel's information, I believe that's all public. This channel, only thing I subscribe to are some modern or alternative media, modern media, whatever you want to call it, uh, sources of information. So check those out if you would like. Um, so with all that, let's not forget one other thing worth mentioning is what's going on in Mexico. Uh, a major cartel leader was taken out. I can't remember the dude's name. I never heard of him, but that caused some crazy situations in Mexico. Things seem to be calmed down over the past week. The company I work for has a facility in Guadalajara. I was shut down for a day or two. Uh, Happy to say everybody that works there is fine. So a little craziness there. I mentioned that at the tail end of these Iran airstrikes as to get back to the whole purpose of this porpoise, the whole dolphin of this video. The whole purpose of this video is to take a look at what's going on and then break it down rationally and how it's going to impact me. Now, right now, there's going to be some restrictions on tanker traffic, oil tanker traffic through the Persian Gulf, especially the Straits. Uh, Iran's claiming they're shutting it down. They can't do that really. Uh, Now that I think about it, I'll link a 4th video down here in the description from what's going on in shipping. Sal did a good job breaking down how, yeah, they kind of shut things down, but they really don't. He goes into a lot of good detail. Again, another channel definitely worth subscribing to. So gas prices will probably spike a little bit here, mostly as an overreaction type thing. I see it going up pennies a gallon, not dollars, and it'll be pretty low key and go back to where it was before within a week or two, my guess. Uh, Biggest concern for me will be, like I mentioned in other videos, if there's any type of a cyber attack to the United States, uh, Iranians sponsored or other big players in the world that want to take advantage of the distraction that is. A lot of talk on sleeper cells still. I, for one, for decades now, there's always been almost like a Tom Clancy novel hype on uh, Islamic extremist sleeper cells in the United States, just waiting for the order to uh, launch an EMP or a dirty nuclear bomb attack or mass shootings and all this stuff. I think if that was the case, it would have happened by now, right? I think I said in an earlier video, I would have thought it would have happened uh, during the 12-day war with Iran, if all these Iranian sponsored terrorist groups had sleeper cells in the United States, they would have activated then. Um, I hope I'm not proved wrong, but there is a possibility that those things still can happen. Maybe it takes a few weeks, months, maybe even a year for the awoken sleeper cell to actually get up and doing on things, right? It may take some time to get their plans into action. So maybe plans in action are still in action from the 12-day war. I don't know. One thing that concerns me more will be the lone wolf type attacks. Somebody radicalized on their own or inspired on their own by Iran or ISIS or any of the other players doing something stupid. This day and age, I see more of a concern of just some left-wing radical, who just basically hates Trump and everything Trump does, being pushed over the edge and just having this be the linchpin thing that Trump did that made them want to, uh, go on a rampage. So, that's where I am, still at a little state of heightened alert to keeping wary of being in public places, just in case somebody in a lone wolf style decides to act up. So that common stuff. So pretty interesting what's going on. Again, check out the videos I linked below. I found them to be pretty informative, pretty balanced. Definitely worth your time to get some background information. Uh, and I still keep this slide from last week. I am still working diligently on having an off-grid computer network, so to speak, communication system here. Last night, I spent some time working on this guy here. I picked up an old ThinkPad off of Amazon. I installed Linux Mint onto it with the help of a very patient friend because I am not too good with computer type stuff. And I'm going to try to kick big tech out of my home at a reasonable level, right? Um, I'm still going to have a smartphone. I'll still have the Windows machine that is issued to me by my employer. But a lot of my other stuff, I'm looking to get out of uh, the grasp of Google and Microsoft and even Apple to an extent. Uh, Going to more open source stuff like Linux. Uh, I'm going to try to build a system where I have basically two networks at home. One, obviously, the network that I'm communicating you with that's connected to the internet and the rest of the world for because I need to have that information come in, and I enjoy putting information like this out. But I want something separate where I can keep my private stuff private, photos, nothing secretive, but uh, all the important documentations, photos, that kind of stuff, and have it air gapped. Um, I'm just tired of the presence of big tech constantly bombarding me with advertisements and selling my data to the highest bidder. So that's about it. Going to keep working on those projects, dedicating some time every day to build up my own infrastructure, if you will, and get a little kind of put big tech into the corner here and keep things the way it is. Again, keeping an eye on what's going on around the world, especially in Iran right now, is pretty fascinating. Uh, some very bold stuff being done, some risky stuff being done. gotta make you a little nervous. Is it gonna turn out good or bad, or is it just gonna be the same as ever? I guess time will tell. In the meantime, keep an eye out for anything suspicious, avoiding large gatherings. I avoid big cities still and just keep my head low. So, with that, I think we'll end it. Everybody out there, you stay safe. Thanks for watching.